It's time for the Spoony One! Wrestling Show! It's time for the Spoony One!
Oh, God. So, well, I guess I'll start by saying this. Impact was not the worst show this week, which is normally a given. No, the worst show this week was WWE NXT, which is not only the worst show of the week, it's a strong contender for the worst half hour, or actually the worst, oh Jesus Christ, the worst hour of television ever committed to the airwaves. It was horrible. Like, I can even barely remember what happened. But I do remember. I don't even want to talk about it. It's like... It was... You know, watching television shouldn't hurt. There was actual pain watching this show. It took force of... I almost had to be restrained to watch it. It was as close to waterboarding as one can get from a television. I'm not even being funny right now. I know that. It's just... It was... They should set up, like, crisis counseling centers for people who have been subjected to this fucking show. I don't think I've ever seen a worse hour of television in my life. Okay. So, Lay Cool, that is Layla and Michelle McCool, the co-women's champions, in another angle I don't give a shit about, they come to the ring. And they've got... Every week they got this monkey stunt they make the NXT rookies do, like an obstacle course. Something loosely related sometimes to professional wrestling to prove that they're going to be good wrestlers. Like, so they'll do a thing where they run an obstacle course to prove they're athletic. And last year they made them run around they ran around the stadium selling programs. So, yeah, they because that proves that they're a good wrestler. They would sell programs. And there was one contest where they had to, like, run an obstacle course and then guzzle a soda, like a 30-ounce soda. This show is bullshit. This is the worst show. It's almost like I challenged them. Like, I keep saying Impact is the worst fucking show I've ever seen in my life, and WWE is like, we can top that, bitch. Like, you want good wrestling? We got TNA. You want bad wrestling? We can beat TNA in anything. We can beat them in shitty wrestling too. So NXT. Man. Sorry, I'm thirsty. Like, wish this was... I could, like, spike this. I wish I could. Anyway. So, Lay Cool hits the ring, and they're like, today's contest is a kissing contest. Already, I was looking for something sharp to just... Like that chick in The Happening who, like, sticks herself in the throat with a needle, and she's just like... I'm like, there has to be some way to end this. They're just... And, like, I'm looking at the remote, and the remote looks so good. And it hasn't even really gotten bad yet. It's like 30 seconds into this fucking show, we're like, we're gonna do a kissing contest! Yay! And I'm just like, I gotta stab myself with something because this is fucking horrible. And I gotta talk about this shit later. So, So the other guys are all excited. Because they're thinking, like, oh, we get to kiss Lay Cool. It's going to be awesome. And like, anyone who's ever seen a day of wrestling in their lives, much less fucking WWE programming, knows that this isn't going to happen. And like I said, there's really nothing worse than watching something done at wrestling program pace when you know how it's going to go. And I thought I knew. I swear I thought I did. Because when they mentioned kissing contest, they were like, oh, it's not against us. And I'm like, here it comes. They're like, we got someone special coming out that is going to be the judge for the kissing contest. And I'm like, here it comes. Here she comes. I thought Mae Young, or whichever one's not dead yet, Moolah or Mae Young, one of them. I was like, here comes one of them, because I think it's Mae Young who's still alive. And I'm like, here's they're gonna have to kiss fucking Mae Young. It wasn't. They're like, what was her name? I didn't take notes for this because I was in such agony. It was like Rosalita, Margarita, Mambo or something. They're like, she's the homecoming queen of Alabama. And so out comes this overweight woman with sores on her face. She's all dirty. She's got like a hairy upper lip. She's fucking horrible. And all the guys in the ring are overacting. They're like, oh, they're like doing that thing where they're like throwing up, but they're not throwing up. They're like, doing this thing, and they're all doing this shit. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. And the announcers, the whole time, fucking Cole and Todd Grisham, I think, they're doing this thing. You know how, like, in WWE programming, when you're watching this fucking show, and, like, Santino's in the ring, or Hornswoggle's doing his fucking midget shit, and they're doing stuff that's not funny at all, but they have to pretend like it's funny. So, like, Cole's like, that Hornswoggle, he's a funny midget. And Cole's like, and it's like, you can see that they just want to die, like I want to die. And so this fucking hideous woman hits the ring, and this whole thing, I feel bad for her. Like, I feel horrible. Like, it's a comedy segment, but it's such mean-spirited, hateful comedy that anyone with any wits at all just feels dirty for watching. Like, this is the exact stuff that makes you feel ashamed to be a fan. Because this is the exact moment that someone walks in the room and you're watching wrestling and they walk in and they see what's on the fucking TV and you're just like, and they say, this is it. This is NXT. Because this whole segment is based around making this woman feel fat, ugly, horrible, unwanted, like the most unsexy creature ever. And you know, for as much as I think, you know, wrestling tends to objectify women, this is like the same thing. Where, like, you know, you think women got image issues enough already. Like, you think women got problems with, like, weight issues and shit like that. And then they start parading this. They parade this woman out in front of the audience, and they're like, look at her, she's a freak, she's a fat fucking freak. Everyone laugh at the fat fucking freak. You know, and and she's got this big smile on her face, like, she's like, I'm a fat, ugly freak. And everyone's like, ah, and everyone's all fucking, like, everyone in the ring is, like, throwing up in their mouths, and, like, and it's really just horrible. And it takes them 5 minutes to, like, do this thing where they're teasing they're gonna kiss Lay Cool, and then they bring the fat bitch to the ring. And, you know, they all but call her a fat bitch, like, and then they get to it. And there's 7 of these guys, okay? And all 7 of them... Okay, here's how it works. Like, the one guy's like, it's your turn first, and the guy looks around, he's like, me? No, not me. And the crowd is like, yeah, you, yeah. The guy's like, I don't want to fucking, do I gotta do it? And they're like, yeah, you gotta do it. He's like, oh shit, I gotta do this thing. And he's like, oh no, I can't do this thing. And he's agonizing, and finally he's trying to muster up the sack to do it. He's like, I'm a man, I gotta do this. I'm a man, I gotta do this. And so, like, he's like that. He's licking his lips. He's trying not to think about it. He's thinking about something else. Like, he's thinking about baseball. He's like, I just gotta do this. I gotta lean over and do this thing. And they lean over, and he kisses the fat, ugly chick with the sores on her mouth. And, like, they are all repulsed, and they're like, ah, and like they're gargling Purell, and they're like, oh my god, I don't want to do this, and the crowd is like, ew. That's one guy, okay? I must have taken about 2 minutes to just explain what's going on. It takes about 5 minutes for one guy to do this. And then when one guy does it, you're looking at your watch, and you're like, is this over yet? No. There's 6 more guys to go, and it all takes them 5 minutes to do this shit. It all takes them that, like, going through the same routine where they're repulsed, they gotta do it, they fucking do it, they're disgusted, and they run all like, I'll never do this again, And it was like, by the time all 7 of them had gone through with this, I was just about dead. Like, I'm not even, like, this was one of those moments where I was... Yeah, you know how I joke about, like, finding something to stab myself in the thigh with to take my mind off it? I was, like, hitting myself. Trying to, like, distract... Just, like... Just full-on hitting myself. Like, I was trying to distract myself by, like, posting on Twitter. I was, like... I took a shit, like, in the middle of this. I come back from my shit. This shit's still going on. And the shit was, like, way more entertaining than this. This was the worst fucking thing I'd ever seen. And, like, just, what the fuck is the point? Someone tell me what the fuck the point of this is. I'm desperate. Like, this has nothing to do with wrestling. Nothing! It's got nothing to do with the wrestlers. It's got nothing to do with the fucking show. It's not connected to any storylines. It's not fucking relevant to anything. The pros are up there on the stage. You're wasting their time. These fucking guys are in the ring trying to prove themselves and trying to get on a fucking wrestling show. And they're doing this shit where they gotta kiss some fat, ugly chick. And they're all like, they gotta make fun of this chick. And like, they gotta act disgusted. Like, they gotta do these fucking speeches where they're talking about mustaches. And you know, Eli Cottonwood sucks. But you know how you tank him even more is you make him cut a 2-minute promo on the word mustache. You know, this has nothing to do with fuck. Nothing. And like, again, I'm just like, wrestle! Just wrestle! This is a wrestling show! Fucking wrestle! Is that hard? You know, like, the worst bookers in the business. Like, you can go like Vince Russo, anyone. Like, you can like, on a wrestling show, book wrestling matches. You know, that's like, if you do nothing else in the world, book wrestling matches. Storytelling is secondary. You can tell a story with wrestling matches. But if you did a card where you book nothing but random matches, already you're on top. You know, just disconnected wrestling matches, and you trust these guys to choose their roles, tell their own story in the ring, do it, get out, get done. You're already ahead. Now, you can add storylines later. Fine. Lovely. But where you fail in booking a wrestling show is when you fail to book fucking wrestling matches on your show. This isn't hard. This is easy. You got a ring full of 7 guys. Have them fucking wrestle. Do I have to fucking explain this to you? I don't... This is unbelievable. You watch 7 of these guys kiss this chick. And then they're like, there's no prize. We just... even like cool. They get out, they're like, well, that was awesome, you guys. We were deliberately wasting your time. Bye! I'm looking for a fucking extension cord to hang myself with over this shit. Does Sci-Fi watch what's being aired? Because I can't believe it. I can't... Like, Spike TV, it's bad enough with Spike TV airing The Deadliest Warrior, airing fucking Impact. At least for the most part, fucking Impact has wrestling on it. You know, like, you tune in at any given random time, there's wrestlers in the ring doing wrestling stuff. More often than not. But the Sci-Fi channel, I refuse to believe this cleared Sci-Fi executives. Because, like, you send this fucking tape to Sci-Fi, and they're like, what's going on here? They watch 35 fucking minutes pass, and they're in the ring with this chick, and they're kissing this chick with, like, herpes lesions on her face. Track this episode down. I don't even know what to fucking say about this shit. There was wrestling on this show, but I don't remember it. I was so just traumatized. That's the traumatized. I was victimized by this fucking show. Like, after 35 minutes of that shit, and they're like, tune in for more. Man, I was just like non-veterans have flashbacks. I'm gonna have fucking flashbacks to this horrible fucking show. Man. It's like having a curling iron plunged into your eye socket, and then, like, they twist it for, like, 35 minutes, and when it's done, they give you ice cream. That's what kills me, too. After all that, we get to watch fucking Lucky Cannon wrestle, and we get to watch Husky fucking Harris. After the kissing contest segment, we have the honor of watching Husky fucking Harris in the... Jesus Christ. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying watching this slow and steady mental deterioration, because, you know, there's guys like me who would do just about anything to get on television. Like, right now, I'm trying to write a pilot episode for a TV show. Like, I'm doing research. I'm researching other shows. I've bought software. I'm researching screenplay format. I'm teaching myself all these things. I'm doing studies of other shows of this format. I'm doing just studies of drama and literature in general. Like, I've got this whole bookshelf of books up there that I'm like when I'm not working, I'm doing that. There's guys out there sending in scripts to studios. There's guys out there breaking their asses. And you tune in and you watch this inexcusable garbage. And it gets an hour on the Sci-Fi Channel. You know what the real science fiction is? Is that, like, shit like this somehow gets on television. That's my recap of fucking NXT. Like, just... And you know what? The whole show It's not as bad as that, but it is as pointless as that. That's what was shocking about the NXT guys coming back as the Nexus when, like, the Season 1 guys came back. Because you're like, wait, what? That had a point? The fuck? Because there was no point to that shit. And Impact was fucking... Impact sucked, too. Because we're like 3 days out from the one night's Hardcore Justice, where we're still supposed to call it EV 2.0. Fuck that. So Tommy comes out and he calls out Raven to explain why he turned on him last week. If you don't remember, Raven came out and attacked Tommy with a chair. And what kills me is Tommy is still somehow confused that this is how Raven operates. Like, if you're an ECW fan at all, this should not stun you. Raven has pretty much always been a heel. Always. For years, Raven has had a stable of guy called The Flock, and for years, he and Tommy were feuding in ECW. Tommy coming out and asking, why Raven, why, is just about the stupidest fucking thing I can think of. More on this later. Raven comes out and he says that Tommy stole his woman and his kids should be Raven's kids, and at Hardcore Justice he's going to cripple Tommy and make Beulah call him Daddy. So Tommy runs up, attacks him, Abyss makes the save, Raven DDTs Tommy on the stage, and Mick Foley comes out and hits Raven with a barbed wire bat and says that he's going to be the special ref for this match. The only match, by the way, that I think was ever officially announced for Hardcore Justice. There was one more, and I'll get to that one too. There's also another match announced later for tonight. Ric Flair versus Jay Lethal in a street fight, and if Fortune interferes, Flair is suspended for 90 days. So, it's a street fight with rules. It's a street fight where nobody can interfere, and Flair will be suspended for 90 days if someone interferes. If Fortune interferes. Important note that. This is fucking stupid. You must live for these moments when I read my notes and remember the horrible, horrible things that go on. Velvet Sky and Lacey Von Erich versus Taylor Wilde and Hamada for the TNA Knockouts tag titles. It still slays me, by the way, that there is a women's tag team division in TNA. Further, it slays me that Lacey Von Erich, one of the worst wrestlers in ever, has held the belt for probably going on 4 months. I wrote, why in the hell is Hamada not ruling this shitty division? Same reason Gail Kim is being held down in the WWE, I guess. This match was atrocious. Lacey Von Erich just needs to stop. She can't wrestle. Like, that's understatement of the decade. Like with Alicia Fox, even, where I'm like, she needs to be stopped. You know, with Alicia Fox, she's, I think, a dancer. She has coordination, and I'm guessing she can be taught. With Lacey Von Erich, there is no hope. There's no... I have seen wrestling this week that would just fucking put a chill in your spine forever, man. This match, there was Lacey tries to do this thing where she does like a cartwheeling elbow shit. I almost want to see it again. Because this, again, this made TV. This is a taped show. Like, they taped this fucking show. And then in editing, they watched this. And it passed. It passed muster. It passed the editor. There was even a point where I think Taz, like, Lacey blew a move so bad. I actually think it was the cartwheel elbow, where Taz just started laughing. And he was like, I don't know what the hell that was. And then she does it again, and he's like, "That there it was. What is that?" This was so bad. And, oh yeah, I remember this. The motorcycle chick and Madison Rayne come back. Other than the Undertaker in a vegetative state angle, I don't think I have ever cared about a secret identity angle less than this. But the motorcycle chick now has a cat suit on where it shows her boobs. Like, it doesn't show her boobs, but it shows cleavage, right? And Tenay says, this pretty conclusively settles the debate on whether or not this is actually a woman. And Taz, God bless the guy, Taz says, well, you never know. I just... Referee Slick Johnson gets slapped in the face. I think, was it by Lacey, I think? The ref gets slapped in the face. Ref takes a bump for this. Ref is knocked out. Okay? From a... Like, Slick Johnson, this dude must weigh like 285. This dude is fucking grotesquely muscular. He gets slapped in the face, and he's like, ah! 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 He's like down in the corner, like, my face! And then, while all this is going on, of course, shenanigans ensue. Lacey Von Erich gets a chair drop kicked into her face. Pinfall. Hamada and Taylor Wilde are the new Knockouts tag champs. And, like, oh, of course, like, as soon as this happens, like, Slick Johnson, he's like, oh, pin? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and, like, that's it. Like, fucking hell. I just... Rob Terry versus AJ Styles for the television title. Earl Hebner throws Kaz out. AJ gets dominated in the ring by Rob Terry until he hits a really blatant poke to the eye, like he thumbs him in the eye. Then he shoves the ref when Earl Hebner protests. No DQ. Then he, in the confusion, AJ hits a kick to the nuts, hits the Pele, hits his springboard. 1, 2, 3. This was bullshit. This is another, like, another ref bump. You know, like, another situation where the referee gets knocked out or distracted or something like that. The referees in TNA are, like, the worst referees in the history of wrestling. It's... Oh, then they do this thing where, there's a really long promo of the pay-per-view quality TNA show, which was basically the pay-per-view that was going to be the pay-per-view before the ECW thing became the pay-per-view. So they're calling it the whole effing show. And they do this really long promo of Abyss versus RVD, where RVD starts talking about the Janice on a pole match. Actually, they call it the Stairway to Janice match, and Janice is the bat with the stick with the nails in it. And he says, the only way to prepare against a weapon like that is to get it first and shove it where the sun don't shine. Would love to see that, by the way. Backstage, Velvet and Madison Rayne are girl fighting backstage, like literally, like limp-wristed slapping each other. And Velvet says, quote, I hate you, kiss my ass! Lacey tries to get between them, and Velvet, like, hurls her into an equipment case, which pretty much kills her. And so the refs break it up, Lacey's still down, and Madison calls for an ambulance. I so don't care. Beer Money versus Motor City Machine Guns in an Ultimate X match. Another gimmick match. But again, as per normal, these guys routinely put on the best wrestling match of the show. And I don't know if it's just a matter of perspective or like relative quality of the shitty matches that normally go on, and then like Motor City Machine Guns put on a competent match, which is far and away high exceeding anything that happens. But even so, this match was not that good. They're killing these gimmick matches, just killing them. And yeah, I wrote they cut this really long point, like Beer Money gets the mics And they cut a really long, pointless promo about how the tag team titles are good and they want them. Then Sabin cuts a long, pointless promo about how the tag team titles are good, they have them, and they want to keep them. Really nothing got contributed there. What really pissed me off during this match is James, like, in the middle of the match, James Storm, like, they have the advantage and Beer Money's like dominating these two guys. Pardon me. And they're like, we're gonna climb. He's like, you James, go climb the fucking thing and get the axe. And James starts motioning like, I can't climb the fucking rope. And like Rude's like, why? And James is like, I drank too much. Like I can't climb the fucking rope. I drank too much. And I was like, seriously, we're doing a bit where he can't climb across the fucking X because he's had too much to drink. Seems to me like you might have thought about this before the match. This was not a surprise match. Like, he's like, I'm too drunk to climb. Hogan, Bischoff, and Miss Tessmacher head to the ring to run down the whole effing show's lineup. Eric says that he's going to be the special referee for the Stairway to Janice match. I really wish they'd put Janice on a pole just so I could call it Janice on a pole. And they actually announced like 5 matches. It's like Madison versus Angelina for the Knockouts title, Motor City Machine Guns versus Beer Money in the last match, Jeff Hardy against anyone he wants, Kurt versus AJ. And I was like, wow, you're hyping for free TV a show much better than the ECW pay-per-view. Like, you've run down the whole card. Like, you've got like 2 hours of programming. Like, if you advertise this as your pay-per-view, I might actually be in. Like, if you said, this is our pay-per-view for Sunday, this is every match on the card, I was like, that's not a bad rundown of matches. I would probably watch that. And, like, for ECW, they're like, tune in for Raven versus Tommy Dreamer. Then Kevin Nash comes out. I wrote, oh fuck. Oh fuck. Not more of this. Remember last week when Kevin Nash and Jeff Jarrett had one of the most rambling, nonsensical bullshit promos I think I've ever seen in the wrestling ring? Ready for more of that? Nash complains that he's not on the schedule for the whole effing show. Hogan said, I swear to God he says this, because I quoted it. I wrote down, and I quote, maybe you haven't noticed, brother, but we've all stepped back. I've stepped back, Eric stepped back, Jarrett stepped back. You need to step back, brother, because our time is over, brother. And yeah, I wrote down all the brothers, too. So he says, you need to step back, brother, because I've stepped back and Jeff Jarrett stepped back. All the veterans are stepped back. It's time for the new guys. It's time for Jay Lethal and Beer Money to step forward, brother, because our time is over, brother. And Hogan is doing this as he and Eric are standing in the middle of the ring, controlling television, running the show. Hogan is telling Kevin Nash about how he's stepped back from politics, like from locker room politics. He has stepped back, he has passed the torch, he is not interfering, he is completely out of this thing as he runs the show! Hulk goes on to say, it's no more coming in for paychecks, no more minimum effort for maximum money, brother. The politics you used to play for, the smoke and mirrors, dazzling people with footwork, big sexy, those days are over, brother. 2 things. 1, Kevin Nash has never dazzled anyone with footwork ever. 2, you're basically admitting that the entire NWO thing was phoning it in the whole time in WCW. Minimum effort for maximum money, right, Hulk? That was you. That was you! Hulk! That was you! And besides that, he's burying WCW this whole time, and Bischoff is standing right there. Nash starts laughing. And he says, Hulk Hogan's trying to lecture me about politics. Eric says that Kevin Nash's whole career has been politics and cliques and backstage manipulation. Kevin Nash says, you ever notice how sometimes in your life you run into someone you just shouldn't have messed with? That's me. Yeah, Kev. I take it you and Triple H have seen Gran Torino too. I like that movie. It was good. Yeah. So Kevin Nash starts attacking Eric Bischoff. And by the way, another side, if I might go on another tangent here. What do you think if I'm a guy who was around in WCW? I saw this stuff. I know more than most about what Kevin Nash is talking about, and I still don't know, like, all this shit, like the whole fucking who shat in the punch bowl thing. I don't know. But, like, I know more than most about what he's talking about with the whole NWO thing, even though they don't say it. The whole clique, the phoning it into WCW. I get this. I know what this is about. Do you? And I'm not insulting you. In fact, do you? If you're just listening to this, if you're a casual wrestling fan, if you're under the age of 22, 25, do you have any idea what the fuck he's talking about? How could you? That's my point, is I'm not calling you stupid. You couldn't possibly know. So, like, every week for 15 minutes, Kevin Nash, Jeff Jarrett, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, they're coming in the ring, they're grabbing the pipe, and they're talking about stuff that happened 15 years ago. 10, 15. They're talking about politics, they're talking about WCW backstage dealings, they're talking about manipulation, they're talking about NWO. You don't know. I barely know. Who the fuck? Do you care? How? Somebody's writing this. Somebody is writing it down and booking this and thinking, people watching on TV, people in the Impact Zone, they're going to watch this and they're going to like, oh yeah, totally, Kevin Nash, fucking politics. No! They're not going to know anything that's going on. Most of these guys are too young to have seen this shit because Hulk Hogan is fucking 90 years old and he was wrestling back before the wheel was invented. Kevin Nash starts attacking Eric Bischoff. Hulk Hogan fights him off. This is a guy, by the way, who is about 2 or 3 weeks out from back surgery. And even so, Kevin Nash has to resort to a low blow to fight Hulk Hogan, the ancient back surgery man, off. He was getting dominated by a dude 2 weeks out from back surgery. And in the most hilarious spot of the night, Kevin Nash, now that he is beating up Hulk Hogan, he gets a chair. He throws the chair in the ring. He bends Hulk Hogan down to do his jackknife powerbomb on the chair. Puts the guy down. He's going to do it. He looks like he's going to do it. He looks at Hogan, looks at the chair, looks at the audience, looks down, looks at Hogan, looks at the audience, looks at the chair, looks at the audience, looks down, looks at the chair, looks at Hogan. Hogan's down here, looks at the audience, looks at the camera. And then he backs off. And then he looks at it, he's like, I don't know if he decided that power bombing this gigantic fucking ancient dude is not going to happen. Like, he was like, there's no way I can lift this dude. Or, the more likely story is that Jeff Jarrett, who was supposed to rescue Hulk Hogan, completely missed his cue and didn't come out and save him. So, Kevin Nash, like an idiot, has to be standing there for like got Hulk Hogan in the blowjob position for like 2 minutes, and he's looking around, I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna fucking do it! And there's no Jeff Jarrett. And then finally he's like, you know what? Fuck it. So he throws Hulk Hogan down. He picks up the chair. And he's waving the chair like he's smacking the chair in the ropes. He is smacking the chair on the floor. And he's waving it around like he's about to, like he's a big league hitter. He's like, I'm gonna hit Hulk Hogan with this chair. I'm gonna do this. And then finally Jeff Jarrett comes out. And Jeff Jarrett saves him from the big bad Kevin Nash. And then this, yeah. So Jeff Jarrett, he knocks the chair away, and he grabs up the chair, and he's like, I'm gonna hit fucking Kevin Nash with this chair. And so he's like Jeff Jarrett's got the chair, and he bends over to pick up the chair, and he's walking around the ring, and Sting is in the ring. Sting now wearing Wolfpack red, like he's the Wolfpack. WCW, if you didn't know what the Wolfpack was. You know, if you're not an old fucker like me. He's wearing his red face paint. Jeff Jarrett, he's standing in the corner with his bat. Like, he's, like, thumping the bat in his hand. He's like, I'm gonna fuck some shit up here. And so, Jeff Jarrett, he turns around, he grabs the chair, basically looks directly at Sting, and he has to pretend not to notice. So he Sting is this guy here, so like the monitor. So like pretend this is Sting, and so Jeff Jarrett's like, I'm gonna do this thing, and he like looks, he like picks up a chair. Sting is like right here, like if you had any kind of peripheral vision at all, like he picks up this. He's like, and then he turns around and he's gonna hit Kevin Nash, and then Sting comes over and like waffles him with the baseball bat. And Jeff Jarrett's like, oh, I never saw this coming, no! Guys, not only is this a taped show, you could have fixed this. This is so bad. It looks like shit. It looks like people play fighting. And it is. But that's the trick behind wrestling, isn't it? It's not supposed to look that way. It's not supposed to look like people standing around waiting for their cues. It's not supposed to look like people waiting to get hit. It just looks bad. We're almost done. It gets worse. Orlando Jordan versus the Pope. Jordan comes out. I hate this. I have to go another tangent. Orlando Jordan comes out sucking on a lollipop. And he calls over SoCal Val. And he's like, I'm going to stick this lollipop in your mouth, SoCal Val. And she's like, I don't think so. And then Orlando Jordan's like, oh, really? Well, what do you think about this? And he starts like rubbing the lollipop on his nipples. And she's like, oh, I'm sold now. She walks. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. And then he like, the whole gimmick is that Orlando Jordan, like, the Pope hits the ring, and Orlando Jordan's doing, like, a blowjob on his finger. Like, he's like, oh. He's looking all turned on and stuff like that. And the Pope is like... And then, so, like, he finishes blowing his finger, and he's, like, gonna wipe it off on the Pope. And the Pope is like, the fuck is this? So, he spends the entire match essentially sexually assaulting the Pope. Like, just stuff you wouldn't believe. Like, he'll, like, I remember when he was fighting Rob Terry, he would do these things where he'd, like, go for a body slam, and, like, when you do a body slam, you gotta kind of reach between the guy's legs, but, like, you're not grabbing his balls, you know? You're just kind of grabbing under his leg, and, like, over, like, his, either over his arm or under his armpit, and kind of, like, lifting him up and dropping him. That's just how you do it, you know? But no, Orlando Jordan would do this thing where, like, he would hit a low blow, or he'd go for a body slam, but he would just grab your balls. Like, he would be like, and he'd start, like, doing the Chinese worry balls on your balls. Like, just, like, and the guy would be getting sexually assaulted and be like, the fuck? Like, the fuck is with this guy? So, like, Orlando Jordan would have the Pope in the corner, and he'd be doing that, like, he'd be all slumped in the corner, and Orlando Jordan would, like, back into him and start, like, rubbing his ass up and down against his crotch, and Taz would be like, you know, like, one thing I know for sure is you don't want Orlando Jordan behind you, because, you know, he'll fuck you in the ass. This is seriously the guy's gimmick. He's a rapist. He rapes men in the ring. Orlando Jordan gropes, fondles, and sexually assaults people in the ring. That's the gimmick. Dixie, Vince Russo, you've got problems. You've got deeper problems than you know. You need to fire your writing staff. You need to fire the dumbass people who are writing your stupid fucking show. You need to hire people who know what the fuck they're doing. You need to stop with this clown shoes bullshit. Because it's killing you. People are getting skeeved out by your horrible, stupid fucking show. And it's because you've got a guy who's got a rapist gimmick fondling people in the ring. The guy's gimmick is that he is actively trying to put his cock in people's assholes in the middle of the ring on national TV. And this is somehow airing on Spike TV. This isn't a matter of his gayness. This isn't a question of me being homophobic. This isn't a question of it being men. Okay? If this guy's gimmick was that he was fondling women, if this was a woman who was sexually assaulting men in the ring, this would be equally as creepy. Okay? This is sick stuff. And you think it's funny. You think it's compelling television, and it's not. Maybe if this was a gimmick where the guy was actively, like, facing charges for sexual assault, this might have some merit. I highly doubt it. But this is really fucking gross. And it has got, like, you wonder why people don't watch your fucking show. That's why. You know, that's, like, people don't want to watch stuff like that. That's not, you think this is family entertainment? You think this is mature entertainment? You think this is groundbreaking? You think this is edgy? You think this is compelling television? You think this is anything other than just gross? And icing on the cake. Eric Young starts coming out and stealing all the Pope's fake money. I'm pretty much done with this shit. After NXT, this was... The TNA security guys come out. It gets... I'm sorry. I'm in a bad mood now. I say, like, this whole show put me on a fucking bad mood. Both this I hope, you know, I really hope someday that Dixie watches this. She won't. And even if she did, she is so fucking out of her gourd. She is so fucking crazy. She'd think I was just being ugly. Like I'm not thinking about this. I'm not appreciating all the hard work that goes into the writing of this show. I'm not appreciating the complexities of this fucking show, because television doesn't have to make sense, as Dixie would say. Oh Jesus, even the bright spot of this show was pretty fucking creepy. Backstage with Flair. I don't know what Flair said, but he has a street fight with Jay Lethal tonight. And the line that stuck with me, he says, "Jay Lethal, tonight you die! Woo! Woo! Woo!" Yeah, he says, "Jay Lethal, tonight you die! Woo! Woo! Woo!" He threatened to kill this guy. I love this. Flair wrestles in a business... he actually wrestles in a tailored suit. That's why Flair's awesome. Street fight, he wears a suit. You know, this was actually a really fun match. And it's all because of Ric Flair. And you gotta love the guy. He will fucking... Like, this is like one of those guys where... he's gonna die in that ring. He's gonna die doing something fucking crazy. Every fucking night. He loves this shit. He loves it. He'll kill himself. He bled like a stuck pig. He was taking superplexes. He was getting thrown around. He was getting hit in the head with the garbage cans. He was bleeding like a fucking maniac. And the whole point was Jay Lethal was kind of systematically stripping him of all his clothes. So, like, he tore his jacket off. He tore his shirt off. Finally, he tore his pants and his shoes off. So he's running around in, like, floral print boxer briefs. And, like, one of the last spots of the match was... Jay Lethal goes for a sunset flip and basically just pulls his underwear down. Like, just full moon. And the entire show gets pixelated, like, because his big ass is just hanging out there. It's all white and pasty, and you can kind of see the whiteness around the pixelization. And you just... This is another one of those moments where, your mother would walk in the room, and she'd be like, what are you watching? And you go, wrestling. She turns around, she sees Jay Lethal just go, whoa, ass. And your mom just goes... There was a pointless backstage interview with Rob Van Dam where he basically just talks about how he takes things one day at a time. And then my favorite part of this might have been my favorite part of the show, was that Rob Van Dam's doing this interview. He's talking about he's got a match with Abyss at the whole effing show, and he's got a match. He knows he has a match at the ECW thing, but he doesn't know he doesn't know what. And then like a specter, Jerry Lynn like pretend like I am where I was. And then Jerry Lynn kind of just like lurches into frame, and he's like, I'm Jerry Lynn, and we've got a match at the ECW show. That was it. Like Jerry Lynn, he just like kind of fades into frame. He's like, hey Rob, what's up? I'm Jerry Lynn. We've got a match later. See you at the pay-per-view. And then Rob kind of looks over at where he was, and he was like, that was Jerry Lynn. And Christy Hemme goes, that was Jerry Lynn. Cut. Just buy the pay-per-view. Buy the pay-per-view to see Tommy Dreamer and Raven and the epic build to the world title match at One Night Stand or Hardcore Justice. Hey Rob, see you at the pay-per-view. I'm Jerry Lynn. Fucking brilliant. I haven't seen a pay-per-view main event built that heavy since You, Me, SummerSlam. Jesus fucking Christ. We're wrapping up. Abyss and Raven versus Rob Van Dam and Tommy Dreamer. This match was over almost before it started. Rob Van Dam beats Raven with the 5-star frog splash. I wrote... Oh, yeah. Again, this is a really lousy way to book the main event of your pay-per-view. One of the only 2 matches advertised for the pay-per-view, Tommy and Raven. Not only did you have Raven lose, but you had Tommy beat Raven. And I know I'm going back in history because I'm one of those guys that TNA is apparently targeting due to our long wrestling memories. But if you ever saw a day of TNA in your life, you know that the whole gimmick between Tommy and Raven was that Tommy could never beat Raven. That was it. Raven was the champion for a long-ass time, and no matter what, Tommy could never beat him in anything. That was the story. Was no matter what, Raven would find a way to squeak out. And so, for years, like week after week after week after week, Raven would somehow escape. And so, that was the big story finally at the end of ECW. Like the last day of fucking ECW was one of the last days. Tommy finally beat Raven. That was it. That was the big blow off 2 years of feuding, was that Tommy finally beat him. And you know what? That might have been an interesting thing to go with for your main event match, is reminding us that Tommy could never beat Raven. And you know what? Tommy has beaten Raven. He just did it. He just did it for free on TV, so why the fuck should I bother buying the ECW pay-per-view? You shouldn't. Because you've seen it. The show sucked. NXT sucked. Dixie, you suck. Your show sucks. I'm out. Jesus fucking Christ.